Yo. All right, I am sorry for the delay. It's been like 10 days since I last streamed. Apologies for that. But anyways, hello, ladies, gentlemen, and genetic anomalies. What is up? It's Not a Newbie back again in the building with yet another stream. And today we're going to be talking about a wide variety of topics. A lot of things going on, particularly in American campuses. Now, those protests have been spreading to other countries. I'm going to touch on that a little bit. But honestly, there's been so many things happening with those protests that I'm not going to be able to get to every single thing. Eventually, I will want to go a little bit more in depth on at least what happened in UCLA. Maybe what happened at UT too, but especially UCLA. Those were the most violent protests from what I've seen. So eventually I'll be talking about that, not in this stream particularly. But we've also got some other topics to discuss. There's Mike Johnson actually getting removed from Congress, or at least Marjorie Taylor Greene actually trying to get him booted. So I'll be talking about that and why that effort will not succeed, unfortunately, in my opinion. There's also the whole situation with FaZe Clan. I'm going to speak on that a little bit. I can't speak to it a ton because I'm not like a heavy gamer or a heavy fan of FaZe, but I do have some opinions on that. I found that situation interesting. We've also got the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal coming up. Hamas seems hesitant to accept the ceasefire deal, but it is on the table. That'll be interesting. We've also got the Daily Wire getting a gag order on Candace Owens while trying to schedule a debate with her, which is kind of funny. We've also got the case of a good guy with a gun stopping a bad guy with a gun, as has happened so many times in history past. This one happened in, I believe, Minnesota. Sorry, no, not Wisconsin is in. No. It happened in Wisconsin, not Minnesota. We've also got the whole situation of Trump being invited to the Libertarian Party, which is low-key funny to me. Low-key funny. But yeah, also, to anyone who was wondering why I haven't been doing streams as often, part of it is I've just been busy and my room has been a mess, so I'm not going to stream with a messy room, so that's part of the reason. But also, like, my streams, over time, I've decided to just have them be more well-researched, just to make sure that my facts are more correct as I'm streaming. I do kind of miss the off-the-cuff, like, oh, I'll just randomly stream and talk about a few topics and then game a bit streams. So I feel like I should probably bring those back. But the thing is, because especially it's election season, and I'm talking about increasingly political topics, I do want to make sure that my facts are straight. So if I do more off the cuff, like casual streams, they're probably not going to be as political. And maybe that'll make some of you guys happy, because I know that there are at least some of you guys who don't agree with my political positions, or you wish I would talk about less heady or heavy topics. So that's on the table. If that's something that you want me to do, join my Discord and let me know. The link is in the description below. It's dscrd.ntnwb.cc. That's the place you want to be if you want to chat with me. You can suggest things for me to react to. I do accept react requests when I get them. Also, sometimes I have people call in. I do call-ins in some streams. And you can join the Discord and call in through that system. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers about everything. Oh, one more thing too, before I get into all of my regularly scheduled programming, is low-key, I've been hyped for X Defiant. Like, I saw the most recent playtest and I was like, dude, when is this game coming out? Because I guarantee you that when X Defiant comes out, you're going to see me game a lot more. And I'm trying to get the CVRT guys to play it with me too, because they're heavier gamers than I am. Like, that game looks lit. It's basically free Call of Duty, but a little bit better from what I've heard. So I'm hyped. Like, this might have me dumping Counter-Strike. Low-key. I don't know if it'll have me like dropping it, but the one thing that it will have to do though, is run well on mid hardware, because this computer that I'm on right now is not particularly powerful. It's not the most powerful machine in the world. So hopefully it's a game that will run on not the latest and greatest hardware. Like, hopefully it doesn't require ray tracing or something like that. Also, by the way, do you guys like the new music? Here, let me pull this up for you guys. This is a brand new song by Qbox. It's called Chassis. I'm thinking about adding this to my my playlist of regular intro music. Oh, there's a new feature called stable volume. I did not know that. But why is it disabled if it's there? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's a nice song. I dig it. So I'm thinking about adding it to my playlist. It actually could be a main song, low key. Like, I can see this becoming like my main song, just like, because this song is lit. I was listening to it and I was like, man, this hits hard. And there's like a slowed down version too. It's like the Chad edit version of this song for like TikTok or something. Hold on. Yeah, there's this, which is like the ultimate like Chad edit. But this is not the version I'm gonna rock with as the main background music. But I will say it's cool that it exists. And like, both versions of the song have very different vibes, but they both work really well. So but anyways, time to get back to our main topics. Oh, hold on. I accidentally removed the chat window. I did not mean to do that. There we go. Oh my goodness. All right. All right, so the first topic that we got to talk about is Joe Biden's Justice Department is apparently planning on rescheduling marijuana as a lower risk drug. This comes from CNN. And apparently it's not just a plan. It's a literal command from the administration to reclassify weed as a lower risk substance. I do know there are some people who are worried about this. I know that Fox News have been running a lot of segments lately about weed being dangerous or whatever. So I know that this is going to make some people upset. I did find this source here talking about marijuana. And from what I can tell in general, weed doesn't seem to be the most harmful drug you could do. Like, I guess it's a hard drug. I don't know if it's a hard drug, but of all the hard drugs, it's certainly the softest. Based on, the CDC has some stuff here about it. It can affect your mental health in some ways. Right. Like, and of course here it talks about how it inhibits, your, various brain functions, which is normal, right? For drugs that put you under the influence. So that's not necessarily out of the ordinary. You could say similar things about alcohol, to be honest. And of course we've got stuff with heart, lung, and heart and lung health when it comes to, inhaling weed through like a vape or smoking or something, especially vaping. I don't think you do not want to vape weed. You don't want to vape any sort of oil because the molecules become unstable and it really messes with your lungs in very bad ways. That's actually vaping. I think vaping weed oil is actually like the primary cause of like lung injuries for people who vape, if I'm not mistaken. I did research on that a while ago, so I'm not just pulling it out of my hair there. But hold on, where is it? I think there was a section here talking about how, oh yeah, here we go. Now, here's the thing that I think is most interesting about this is mental health. Marijuana use has been linked to social anxiety, depression, suicide, and schizophrenia. Scientists don't know yet whether marijuana use directly causes these health issues, but it may make symptoms more severe. So I think that this paragraph is both interesting and important. So I personally think that if marijuana was a direct cause for these things, then we would have found a link to it that was a bit stronger than what this paragraph indicates by now. Therefore, can we say that weed is like incredibly dangerous? I frankly don't think it's incredibly dangerous. However, the link is not the most well known. So it's hard to recommend someone to get into something like weed when it has a loose connection to these sorts of things, and we don't yet know exactly what the link is between weed and things like depression, suicide, schizophrenia. Like, for example, are people taking weed to help with the is there comorbidity? Basically, like, are people taking marijuana to deal with social anxiety, to deal with depression, to deal with suicide, to deal with schizophrenia, or are those things being brought on by the marijuana itself? What this paragraph is indicating is not clear. It's not clear, but it's possible that it is causing those side effects. I have heard some anecdotal stories of it causing schizophrenia in some people, but every single person who has talked about those stories has also pointed out that, hey, people who are taking weed now are taking in more than they have in the past, especially with its legalization and people taking it orally through an edible. I think there was another section here. Oh yes, eating edibles, foods, and drinks that contain marijuana can take longer to kick in compared to smoking marijuana. The delayed effect of consuming edibles may increase the risk of consuming too much, which can lead to poisoning or serious injury. So it makes sense that if people are like doing tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of marijuana, that it also increases their risk for all these mental health issues, where if they were taking a more appropriate amount, then they wouldn't really have anything to worry about. So is this something I'm going to fearmonger over and get all mad and upset about? No. You guys know me. I am a huge personal rights and personal freedoms dude. So I'm not going to get all mad about certain drugs being legalized. However, I think that Portland, Oregon has shown us that you can't just run around legalizing all drugs. And I do think that having age limits for doing certain drugs would still be a good thing. Like, you shouldn't be able to do weed if you're under 21. That'd be my opinion. But should weed necessarily be a crime? You could also make the case for legalizing, having an under the influence limit, if you could do some sort of test to see how much weed is in your system. I don't know how that sort of system would be administered, because I do think that if you're taking tons and tons and tons of weed and you're just out in the public wilding out, that is a problem. That's a problem. And that is a problem that you see in some states that have gone too far with decriminalization of drugs. So maybe something like that would be fair. Because if you're all high in your room, then you're not really harming anyone necessarily. But if you're just out in the street, homeless and doing weed, that's not a great combination, to be honest. So that's my general thoughts on the whole subject. I do not feel particularly strongly about weed, although I don't think that it should be completely banned. I think that some people should be able to use it for recreational use in certain contexts if they're doing so responsibly. But I'm not one to want the government to be kicking in people's doors and then checking their body to see if they're doing weed. Like, I don't think that's appropriate, and I'm not a fan of that. So, all right. All right, so this is a huge topic. We've got all these protests going around all over the country. They're kind of dying down because the cops are finally doing something about them. But we've been seeing in America, and this is kind of spread to other campuses across the world, but it started in America. We've been seeing these pro-Palestine / pro-Hamas protests. And the reason why I say / pro-Hamas is because some of these folks, including leaders of these protests, have been pro-Hamas or they've refused to condemn Hamas. I actually went and looked before I did this stream, and I have not found a single pro-Palestinian protest from these gatherings where there were members of the protest on the Palestinian side who were condemning Hamas while also criticizing Israel, which I think is it's a balanced take to criticize not Palestine, to criticize Hamas in Israel, because they both have been doing things wrong. Now, who has the most malice? I would say Hamas. I know a lot of people would probably disagree with that take, but oh well, there it is. But I think there are a few things to take into account with the whole protest, and it's very polarizing. However, this is what I'll say. First of all, the majority of these protests have been peaceful. I mean, people haven't been running around like attacking others. Now, UCLA was a different story. We did see a bunch of violence there, in large part because there were violent pro-Israel protesters who were there to counter-protest. And I'm not sure if those protesters got attacked first or they went and tried to attack the pro-Hamas protesters. I'm not sure what exactly happened there, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And I'll do a video about this separately, because it got so bad that like a Jewish girl was beaten by like a crowd of these pro-Hamas protesters, and she ended up having to be taken to the hospital. I think she got at least a concussion, if not other injuries. But I just wanted to go through some more details because I also have big problems with these protests. Not just that they are promoting Hamas, which from what I can tell in general they do, but also because they are, in my opinion, doing what amounts to terrorism on domestic soil, not just from a Encyclopedia Britannica perspective, but from what the FBI themselves would tell you. But let's slowly go through everything that's been happening at a very high level first, and then I'll get to my conclusion. So, we've got some examples here of people. We got a lot of things going on. So here's a clip from a leader of a protest, which, to be fair, is happening in Australia. But here she is refusing to condemn Hamas, same as the person who was with her here.
You kind of have to condemn Hamas or talk about Hamas. It's a distraction from the issue at hand, which is actually there's a genocide going on. And, Hamas...
But Israel wouldn't say it's a distraction. They would say that they're undertaking this action because Hamas kidnapped and still hold Israelis hostage, and they're demanding... Now, I'm not for one moment defending Israel's actions. I mean, let's face it. I mean, how many children do you want to kill before everything stops? But surely, if you're going to protest against that, you've also got to send a message to Hamas to release the hostages, don't you?
Well, I actually say that Hamas deserve our unconditional support, not because I agree with their strategy. Absolutely. Not because I agree with their strategy. Complete disagreements with that. But the situation at hand is, if you have no hope, if you are sanctioned every day of your life, if you're told you're not allowed to drive down a road because somebody who is Israeli gets to have preference and you sit there for 12 hours, the reality of life in Palestine...
That can't justify what they did in October last year.
Nothing can justify what has been happening to the Palestinian people for 75 years, right? And essentially, the UN coming in with the situation of a two-state solution, the history of that place, of Palestine, the Palestinians before the UN came in with the two-state solution actually were also under an English mandate, right? Okay. Palestinians were promised that they would have self-determination.
But you can't condemn what Hamas did in October last year?
I will not condemn what Hamas did. We must be unconditional, but we must be critical also, right?
That's insane to me. That's insane to me that we've got this literal pro-Hamas person who is at the forefront of one of these major protests, to be fair, it's in Australia, but still, is literally saying we have to unconditionally support Hamas, which is kind of crazy. And we've got more clips here. This is from a protester in Iowa State University saying that he supports Hamas.
It's a yes or no question. It's a very simple yes or no question. Do you support Hamas?
Yeah. Which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Especially considering, remember, this is a they're designated terror group. I think that it's fair to also call them a government because they do form as a functional government of Gaza, but they are viewed as a terrorist group for the horrendous things that they do. The IDF has not, done brutal assaults on women in the same way that that Hamas has. Hamas literally had things to say, hey, assault women in this way. When you go in, like little pamphlets that were left behind by the terrorists, telling them to do these things. You don't see anything like that from the IDF. So to equate the two or say that somehow Israel is worse than Hamas is kind of crazy. Let's see here. We've also got more. There was a protester who was seen wearing a Hamas headband. Now, from what I could tell, this was just one. It wasn't like a trend or anything. But as you can see here, that headband is extremely similar to the headbands that we've seen here worn by Hamas militants in Gaza. It's actually almost identical. It seems like an intentionally faithful replica. We've also got this clip here of a protester threatening to kill counter-protesters.
Dick. You got tweezers? You got my dick. You got tweezers? You got a microscope? Back up. You got a microscope? I'll break your face. I'll break your face. I bet you. I'll break your face. I'll kill your ass. Yeah. You gotta go. With these. You're provoking me. Yeah, with these. Fuck out of here. They go over there. They go over there. Fuck out of here. Nah, they gotta go over there. Why he still over here? No, why is he still over here? But why is he still over here? Get an education. Suck my dick, white bastard. You white faggot. You're a white faggot. I will whoop your ass. When I catch you. When I catch you. Get your tweezers out. When I catch you. When I catch you. When I catch you. When I catch you.
So clearly not all of these protesters are peaceful, as you can see. Now, hold on, let me see here. Now, there was more violence in UCLA, where the UCLA, they attacked a counter-protester who had a sign that said, Hamas protesters are not welcome on native lands. Which, like, by the way, fighting over a sign is just wild. Let me just say that. That's insane. Now, from what I remember of coverage of this, many people were kind of blaming the university for not bringing in law enforcement because they could have kept these groups separated. Now it's insane. Like this just evolved into chaos. Now I will say what I think is even more disturbing than this is calls for intifada that we've been seeing at various campuses.
Revolution! Intifada revolution! There is only one solution! Intifada
So, and it's not just here. It's here. And yet another instance of this happening. And I did find this kind of funny. There was a UCLA protester who called for intifada, but then didn't, and also said that genocide was bad, but wasn't able to define either of these terms.
You guys are shouting for intifada? You know what an intifada is? What is it? What is an intifada? You guys are proud of shouting for intifada?
Yo, this looks like when you're like playing a video game and then you see like these like NPCs and you want to talk to them, but then like you talk to them and like they don't do anything, or like you don't see any interact buttons, so they're just standing there looking at you. Like they do look like literal NPCs, like from a video game.
They told me that I am free to walk in as I please, so I'm just gonna scoot on by. You can't do that, dude. It's public property.
That's insane. That's insane. And yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff about that there. But, you know, many people who have survived terror attacks did, they found it very upsetting that people are calling for an intifada. Which makes a lot of sense because if you guys aren't familiar with the background, intifadas are basically, it's like Arabic for uprising, I believe. And it's when Palestinians in Gaza would rise up against either like Israelis or Jews, attacking them, usually in retaliation to, you know, instigations from Israel or just due to frustrations on the living situation. And it's just born out of the tensions between the Israeli and Palestinian conflict. I'm not really going to get into all of the specifics of all that, but in many cases, the violence wasn't necessarily warranted. Like it wasn't necessarily like people were attacking them, so it was self-defense. It wasn't anything like that. And also many of the groups, by the way, who would do the intifadas were people who were anti-Semitic. So now you're calling for another anti-Semitic attack against the people of Israel. Now, to be fair to them, to these people here, I don't know that they're anti-Semitic because now I guess you do have to ask them questions because many of them are supporting Hamas, right? Which is an anti-Semitic group trying to kill Jews. But at the same time, you know, you can say that you want, Israel to be obliterated from the face of the map and not be anti-Semitic. Now, it does make it more questionable because it's the only Jewish state. So it'd be different if, like, you know, someone was like, oh, I want Liberia to be wiped off of the face of the map. Liberia has no right to exist. Free Liberia from the east to the west. No one would call you racist against Africans because there are other African nations. But when it comes to Israel, there's only one Jewish nation. So there's not a whole lot of wiggle room there. It's very, very difficult to also be against Israel while not partnering up with anti-Semites. Like I've been seeing like alt-right people online being against Israel and supporting the far leftists because they hate Jews. So there's a lot of horseshoe theory going on. If you're not familiar with horseshoe theory, it's basically where like the left and the right basically are the same and they meet up and have very similar goals and aims. We're seeing that here. We're seeing things now done by left-wingers and progressives that would bring a tear to Nick Fuentes' eye in a happy way if you were to see what some of these people are calling for. Now, some people are calling all of these protests anti-Semitic, right? The Guardian, they put out an article that kind of paints these protesters as anti-Semitic. not sure if all of them are anti-Semitic, but I do understand the concerns there. But to be fair, it's apparently funded by Jews. The protests are apparently funded by Jews, or at least George Soros. He is allegedly, according to the New York Post, paying some of the student group or funding the student groups that are behind these events. Now, there's a lot of information here that you can go through, but essentially, we've been seeing some paid protesters or people who accused of being paid protesters at many of these venues. As people record, they've been identifying some folks. Lot of information here, and there's a lot of stuff to get to, so I'm not going to go through all of it, but I do recommend checking out this article here if you have the time to do so. Now, in general, because we have to talk about the response to this, right? Because if a bunch of protesters come into your campus and keep students from going to school, especially largely Jewish students, to the point where many Jewish students almost feel like all the non-Jewish students can go to class, but the Jewish ones can't. We have to talk about some responses to the protests. Now, in general, the university presidents have given vague and bland condemnations of the protests, but not really speaking on what it is that they're protesting in regards to. And that makes sense considering the fact that these protesters are violating school rules and school policies. And to be fair, Columbia at the very least threatened to, Columbia threatened to expel some of these protesters if they stopped holding a building hostage, which is literally something that they did. I'm not making this up. This is coming straight from Axios. Now, I have not seen any evidence that they followed through on this threat, and I'm not sure if I'm rooting for them to do so, but I think that maybe a 1 or 2 year suspension would be fair. You got to give them time to cool off, because generally with these things is give them 4 years and then see if the protests is still around. Usually the movement is far gone. For example, where's Black Lives Matter? They're gone. Now this kind of brings up one of my biggest problems with these protests is, in many ways, I think these protests resemble, and I think meet the definition of terrorism. So if we look at the Encyclopedia Britannica here, they define terrorism as, quote, the calculated use of violence to create a general climate of fear in a population and thereby to bring about a particular political objective. Terrorism has been practiced by political organizations with both rightist and leftist objectives, by nationalistic and religious groups, by revolutionaries, and even by state institutions such as armies, intelligence services, and police. And also, if we go to the FBI, it says here, we've got international terrorism, violent criminal acts committed by individuals or groups who are inspired by or associated with designated foreign terrorist organizations or nations, state-sponsored. And we've got domestic terrorism, which is violent criminal acts committed by individuals or groups to further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences, such as those of a political, religious, social, racial, or environmental nature. Now, I think that the reason why many of these protests amount to this is because they are trying to terrorize the people who are on the campus, right? If we look at it, what are they doing? They're occupying spaces, pretty much as much space as possible, keeping people from going in and out of the buildings. And especially the thing that seals the deal for me is they are threatening to not go away and to not stop unless the universities capitulate to their demands. In some cases, I think regrettably, many of these universities are actually capitulating to some of their demands. They're saying, okay, we'll give free money to Palestinians. We will have a board meeting to consider joining the BDS movement. And, you know, they're negotiating with the terrorists, which I think is a shame because we've kind of set a new precedent now that protesters can be extremely disruptive on campus, keep people from going to class, which is literally what they're there to do. They're there to learn, go to class, do the assignments, turn everything in, do the exams, finish the courses, and then get whatever grades they have, get a diploma, and then go into the real world. These protesters or terrorists, depending on whether or not you agree with my assessment here, are not allowing students to do this. They're not. So you've now said, okay, we are going to let people just wreak havoc, do whatever, and then also boss us around. And I think to tell your students, hey, you can get whatever you want if you throw a big enough tantrum is completely ill-advised and is one thing that will bring the demise of these universities, some of which were previously deemed to be highly esteemed, well-accredited, and elite colleges. I don't know if that's going to be the reputation moving forward. Now to wrap things up, there was one last piece of the story where, to also be fair to these college students, it was found that a shocking amount of people were not even members of the colleges.
4 minutes before the bottom of the hour, Fox News alert, NYPD revealing that of the nearly 300 people arrested on Columbia and City College on New York campuses Tuesday, half of those had no affiliation with either school. At Columbia, outsiders made up nearly 30% of the arrests. City College, that number 60%. As protests continue across the city, our next guest says the faculty at his school are complicit in these protests. He even goes further.
That is true. There are faculty in the protests. In some cases, there were professors who were arrested because they were participating in these often violent protests, but not entirely violent. But yeah, some people are caught up in this mess.
Other than that, Jeff Lax is a City University of New York law professor and joins us now.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna sit through the whole interview there, but this is all very unfortunate and alarming. I will say, thankfully, that these cancerous protests have not spread all across the entire country, and we've actually seen some universities where they responded appropriately to the protests. I think that UT was a shining example of this. I think they only let them be around for like a day, and then they took everything down. They said, hey, we are going to expel you if you don't leave. And so a lot of them left, and some of them had to get arrested anyways. But I think it's unfortunate, but thankfully not all universities are going to stand for these types of protests. So we'll see how this affects things. I don't think, by the way, this will affect the United States presidential election because many of these students don't vote. They will go into the street, they will throw a tantrum when it's time to vote. Nah, they ain't feeling it. Also, they support a very extreme portion of the population when it comes to even like the Democrat Party. If you guys remember the Squad, when the Squad first came in, what they were known for was being anti-Israel and, except for one of them, supporting the BDS movement, which I think around the time they were on the come up, and I think even since then, the BDS movement has largely been considered by some individuals to be at least terrorist sympathetic because it is a movement that anti-Israel and terrorist nations often call for, which is, hey, divest from any company that does business with Israel. Hopefully that'll ice them out, drain their economy, and they won't be able to defend themselves, and we'll be able to go and attack them and take them over. It's basically what the BDS movement is hoping to achieve with their protests. But that's not a policy that most people agree with. Most Democrats don't agree with that policy. Basically, no Republicans except for anti-Semites agree with that policy either. So I don't think that this will affect the elections very much. If anything, it'll make people more upset at Democrats because it sort of puts on display, I think, the ignorance of some of these protesters, their hypocrisy, right? Decrying violence, but then also basically having terroristic activities on their own campuses. So I don't think this is going to move the needle a lot because they don't vote. But I don't know. We will have to see how this makes people feel about the Democrat Party and about anti-Israel protests in general before we can really make a judgment on how exactly this is going to move the needle. All right. Hold on. I will be right back because I do need to check something real quick. Hold on. Voice Critical is suing the U.S. government. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm going to leave you with this fantastic... oops. I'm going to leave you with this fantastic, fantabulous music. And I'll be back shortly. All right. I am back. Thanks for waiting. Actually, no one's waiting. No one waited because no one is listening. All right. We do have some more topics to get into already lined up for us. So, let's see here. Now, I think you guys remember that I predicted that Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't going to move against Mike Johnson because Donald Trump was, supporting Mike Johnson, basically saying, he's a good guy, he's okay, just ignore the fact that he did not do anything that he was brought on to do, and he basically broke all of his promises. Well, looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene actually was willing to snap her hip in half in order to get it disjointed from Donald Trump's. Here it appears that they're actually going to be moving forward and moving against Mike Johnson. So we have it here from Voice of America, of all places, a literal American propaganda source. Not a bad way, but it's just funded by the American government, like, PBS or whatever. U.S. lawmakers will vote next week on whether Speaker of the House Mike Johnson will retain one of the top leadership posts in the American government. Let me see here. In the American government. Johnson, who has only been Speaker since last October, faces a threat from within his own party. Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene called on Johnson to resign on Wednesday, saying he has betrayed the principles upheld by former President Donald Trump and the Make America Great Again movement. If he does not resign, Greene says he will call for a vote to remove him. The procedural effort known as the motion to vacate is just the latest in several chaotic efforts to replace the House of Representatives Speaker as Republicans attempt to govern with a very narrow majority. Now, despite this, the Democrats have actually said that they're going to save Mike Johnson. And this is from the Associated Press. House Democrats will vote to save Republican Speaker Mike Johnson's job should some of his fellow Republican lawmakers seek to remove him from the position, Democratic leaders said Tuesday, likely showing for now that Johnson will avoid being ousted from office like his predecessor, from Representative Kevin McCarthy. Johnson has become under heavy criticism from some Republicans for moving forward with aid for Ukraine as part of a $95 billion emergency spending package that passed last month. It would only take a handful of Republicans to remove Johnson from the speakership if the Democratic caucus went along with the effort, which they're not going to do. Right. Democratic leaders took that possibility off the table. It says here, at this moment, upon completion of our national security work, the time has come to turn the page on this chapter of pro-Putin, okay, Republican obstruction. So a statement from the top three House Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries, Catherine Clark, and Pete Aguilar. We will vote to table Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's motion to vacate the chair. If she invokes the motion, it will not succeed. I think this is big. Now, I will say that I actually have been talking to people about this whole situation, and one response I've heard is, well, who would be better than Mike Johnson? The answer is I don't know. I think the one person who would be better than Mike Johnson is the one guy who doesn't want the job, which is a reason why I think that he would be so good at it, is Jim Jordan. But the problem is that you have to have a way to hold people accountable for breaking their word. You can't bring in someone to do a job and then the person says, you know what? I'm not going to do what you wanted me to do, but hey, you can't find nobody better than me, so I guess you're stuck with me, boy. Like, that's not the right way to go about things. And this is exactly how we've had this whole situation in the American government, where our politicians and our representatives don't always represent us well, but we feel kind of boxed into voting for whoever, just because. I mean, and this actually has many people discouraged in the American voting system because they feel like the representatives don't represent them. Now, for me, I am not really voting for anybody that I hate or that I think is not working in my best interest. I may have my own qualms with Donald Trump, but I am voting for him because there are some good things that I think he will do at the end of the day. But when it comes to the whole Mike Johnson situation, it's like this is a reflection of a greater problem where people just don't feel comfortable holding Republicans or even Democrats, but also Republicans accountable for not doing what they're brought in to do. In my opinion, Mike Johnson should be removed just for making those promises in the first place. We should get someone else in, and even if they don't do anything to push the needle in the same way of what Matt Gaetz was talking about, which I think was a very admirable effort, by the way. I'm not dinging him for this situation at all. But at the very least, we have to bring in someone who's not willing to make these promises. Don't promise more than you're willing to give, right? If you say you're going to give me $500 and then you only give me $50, I'm going to be a little bit salty. But if you say that you're only going to give me $50 and then you give me $50, I'm not going to get mad that you didn't give me $500 because you didn't promise $500. That's essentially what Mike Johnson has done, and that's why people are salty at him. Now, the Democrats are happy because he's someone that the Democrats can work with, to pass things like that $95 billion spending bill to give more money to Ukraine and more money to Israel as well. But it's just, I don't know. It's just bad. It's just bad. I'm glad that Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to do something, but it's a shame that whatever it is that she's trying to do is probably not going to work or be effective. That's kind of unfortunate. All right, let's see here. I feel like I got a few more subjects left. This one's actually a good one. It does seem like we are on the verge of yet another ceasefire deal. Now, I'm not sure if we're actually going to get there because it seems like Hamas is sort of balking on this from what I've read. But Blinken has been working with Israel. Has been working in Israel to help them get a ceasefire deal. Between Israel and Hamas. And now, this comes after Israel has announced that they will be moving into Rafah, because that's where a lot of Palestinians in Gaza are because they were told to go there. I think, unfortunately, it's very likely that many Hamas militants went with those civilians over into Rafah as they seek to maximize civilian casualties. But let's read some portions of the article here. Visiting Israel on Wednesday at a moment described by U.S. officials as the last chance to head off a surge of fighting, Secretary of State Antony Blinken urged Hamas to accept a ceasefire proposal and pushed the Israelis to do more for Gazan citizens. Let's see here. Blinken said, "We are determined to get a ceasefire that brings the hostages home and to get it now. And the only reason that won't be achieved is because of Hamas. There was a proposal on the table, and as we said, no delays, no excuses. The time is now." So it really sounds like Israel, or the United States administration, is upset and worried about how this invasion into Rafah could go down. And like, for instance, it sounds like Blinken here is asking for all the hostages to be returned. And this makes sense because I think the majority of Palestinians from Gaza are now in Rafah. If Israel goes into Rafah, I think that does threaten to end up killing a significant portion of the Palestinians, of the Gazans left, which is unfortunate, but it's a side effect of Hamas's war tactics, unfortunately. Now, there have been some people who are not happy that Netanyahu is considering doing this. So we've got some far-right Israelis who are saying that he should not try to do a ceasefire with them. But at the end of the day, it is on Hamas to accept the ceasefire deal, and they have not really indicated that that's something that they want to do anyways. Now, another thing to take into account is that Israel says that they are going to go into Rafah, if they have a deal or if they don't have a deal. Now, I think that one reason why this deal is so consequential and important is because if Hamas accepts the deal, this will very likely delay the invasion because you have to give some time for the Israeli civilians to be given back to Israel and for the Hamas terrorists to be given back to Hamas. Like, you've got to have some time there to allow that to take place. So, it probably will delay that, and I think that would be a good thing just to give some semblance of peace to the civilians on both sides before hostilities rev back up again. But still, it does look like Israel's going to go ahead and dive in and try to end this war soon. Actually, I'm not sure how long this war is going to last. Hopefully it ends soon. But we'll see what happens with this. Hopefully, this leads to a swift end to the war. Because I think that after Rafah, I don't know where else Israel would need to go in order to go after Hamas. They've already taken out crucial aspects of Hamas's military infrastructure. So, not sure where else Israel needs to go. We'll see. I mean, we're seeing even Donald Trump, who was a massive supporter of Israel, start to get annoyed by how long it's taking for this war to wrap up. So, who knows? But we'll see how things shape up there. You know what? There are more subjects at hand, but honestly, like those topics are pretty heavy. They were pretty big. So I do want to do some reactions. To just stuff. So let me check the chat here. You know what? I'm going to do another short segment, because the last short segment I did was pretty fun. Not gonna lie.
All I've ever wanted is a guy that's cute and sweet and caring. I'm Cameron, and I'm pretty much perfect for you.
Oh, I know. This is about a show I've never seen.
When termites are born, they're attracted to the light of the sun to guide them and fly away. We know this because it's termite hatching season in my garage. Thousands of them scattered. But look what happens when I open the garage door. Ah, the light of the sun. Like a fucking Mononoke movie. They all come towards the sun so they can fly away. But I'll never let them out. I'll never let them reach the sun. Because I have a better sun. Yes, come to your sun.
Ooh.
Yes, let's go to the sun. A million years of biology has taught you to do this one thing. Go
like moss to a flame.
to the sun. Yes. This is all that's ever been in you. This is all you ever are. Go to the sun now. Finally gonna learn what happens when the sun comes to them. Thanks for watching. If you learned anything, drop a like below and follow me for more fun.
Nice. I mean, they're termites, so.
Why you reading, bitch?
Why you gotta bother me, man?
I'm not doing very well at school. I'm reading at a 3rd grade level. I really don't want to get left back. So when I see somebody reading for fun, it makes me feel that much more stupid. Then I get mad.
I didn't know that. Thanks so much for opening up to me.
Shut up, queer.
Why you gotta go there?
I've been having sexual fantasies about some of the other guys at school. I'm afraid of these feelings and what they might mean. It's like because I hate myself so much, I gotta point that hate outward towards you.
You understand this on such a deep level that you...
I don't understand. Now I'm gonna punish you physically for acknowledging my emotional problem.
Wait. I was gonna say, if you understand yourself so well, maybe you should try working on changing it.
Of course I want to change it, but it's the only defense mechanism I have against deeper, more terrifying problems buried inside of me. Lucky my dad's here.
Get the damn truck, son. I need to take you home and beat on you because I hate myself. And you look like your mother who left me. And I'm gonna block out the guilt I feel over mistreating you with the river of vodka.
I'm gonna internalize that and unknowingly transfer it onto you tomorrow. Why you reading, bitch?
Why you gotta bother me, man?
That's actually kind of sad.
So I just went to the library because I refuse to give any money to Jordan Peterson. And I got this, his 12 Rules for Life book. And I'm going to read it so I can critique it and expose him for his bigotry and misogyny.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Well, I cleaned my room and made my bed. And for some strange reason, I'm craving lobster.
That's funny.
It's true. They keep saying that Jordan is all these things, and he is not any of those things.
So I just went to the library.
I guess it was a parody. I didn't know what her initial position was. I do wish that it was a little bit more substantive, like about the book. But it's a small quibble. Bro, what is that custom light he has in the background? That's cool. I don't know. I'm a sucker for neon, as you can see. You know, I like neon, not the streamer. I like neon, like signage. So I find the light cool.
Beautiful. Is that the thing that you're gonna be holding on to?
No, this is good. I should be able to drop this, slowly descend. I'll go downstairs and we'll... Okay. What? Dude, did you turn it on? There's an on.
Huh?
Okay.
You just have to step off Oh my gosh.
Okay? 1, 2, 3. Look at that!
I mean, that's kind of cool. I'm not sure what the point of it is. An elevator would have been cooler.
So I just went. So.
Excuse me, can anyone rap?
No, but I can sing really fast.
Amazing. Are you an artist?
I am.
What's your name?
Tia.
You freestyle?
Yeah.
Last person to freestyle on our video got 40 million views. You think you could beat it?
Try.
I remember our first time in Barcelona that morning. I was so hungover, I never thought that our roads led to this. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go back to Barcelona before we got so hungover from drinking Tito's and soda till it was 6 in the morning. Cause I like the way you said that night was never gonna end. Back then, if I only knew Hollywood Boulevard sitting next to you, yeah. Shades with the matching suits, should've rolled the red carpet out for you, yeah. Dave Matthews playing too, cause I might just crash out into you, yeah.
Excuse me,
that was pretty good. It's one of those things where it's like, is it a freestyle or is it written that's memorized? It's hard to tell.
Surround you so you never make mistakes. My fault, Fabi, I'm new to this place. Yeah, yeah, baby, welcome to the hood. If you with us, you good. Yeah, Fitchy, wooed up. Backpacks for the rulers. Yeah, I gotta take notes for.
Babe, if I give you permission to call me the B word, would you say it?
I get to call you the B word?
Yes, I'm giving you permission, but only one time. Hello? Why are you taking so long to reply?
I'm thinking about how I want to say it. Okay, bet. Stupid bitch. Annoying, bitch.
Well, damn. I said one time, though.
Was that good enough for you? Bitch. Hello? Answer the phone, bitch.
What the fuck is wrong with you? You only had to say it one time, not 4.
Why are you mad? You told me to say it.
Yeah, but you're only meant to say it one time.
I'm sorry, bitch. I mean, babe.
And you're still going? I said one time.
I'm sorry it was just autocorrect.
You've been waiting our whole relationship to say that, haven't you?
I'm sorry I got carried away, but I swear I didn't mean it in a bad way.
Of course you didn't mean it in a bad way.
I knew it was a trick question. I'm not dumb.
You think this is fun?
Yeah,
you think it's a
true.
game? Because you genuinely hurt my feelings, you know?
Okay, that's my bad. I'm sorry.
Look, I don't understand. If your feelings are so fragile, why would you intentionally put traps for yourself? It's like being afraid of spiders and then like putting spiders in your room. Like, why would you do that to yourself?
Okay, you're doing too much now. Stop playing.
Okay, my bad, babe. Are you still mad at me? Hello, Sophie.
You seriously hurt my feelings. You were only supposed to say it one time as a joke, but you just kept going on and on. I honestly feel like crying.
Wump wump.
Babe, if you give me permission to call me the...
Oh, man. Yeah, that's what happens when you get what you ask for.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being so dumb. Thank you so
I have no comment on this. I can't speak to it at all. That's why I have no comment on this.
Would you support white-only dormitories?
Everybody has a choice.
So I think white-only and black-only anything is evil and wrong. That's why I hate critical theory and critical race theory, because when it's put in practice, you start to discriminate people based on race. So we're now south of the Mason-Dixon line in North Carolina. We did a lot of work to get rid of segregation in this country. Why are you trying to bring it back?
What work?
The Civil Rights Act of 1964.
In this state?
Yeah, actually in this state. Are there black-only bathrooms out there I'm unaware of, or white-only bathrooms?
Nah.
Right. A lot of work was done in this state.
I will say this, like, for some reason, I've been seeing, like, actually bad performances of Charlie Kirk on Instagram lately in my reels, where he's, like, not necessarily wrong, but he's not doing the best job of defending his position, to the point where I'm literally jumping out of my seat like, no, Charlie Kirk, that's not the right answer to this. You can like directly refute what he's saying, but instead he like goes off into like the more like political like argumentation against what his opponent is claiming. But here he's spot on. We've made a lot of movement to get rid of segregation. Leftists want to bring it back. It's not really something that we should really tolerate socially when it comes to public policy.
Your face is small.
Yo! How did he think that was going to play? Did he think that people were going to be like, oh, yeah, you own Charlie Kirk because you said that his face was small? Like, what?
Well, thanks for being here. They always go to insults when they lose the argument.
Yeah,
God bless you, my
usually
friend. Would you support white-only dormitories?
I love you, Avery.
No way.
Wait, what the f? That was autocorrect. I literally wrote hello.
Right.
But I low-key want you, romantically.
Good for you, buddy.
You should come over tonight.
Nope.
Just let me EYP.
Huh? What?
You heard me. Please. You're like the second prettiest person in Cali.
Thanks. Who the is first?
Me.
Oh, right.
Listen, I miss you. I want you. I need you.
Then you should actually commit to me instead of playing games.
Okay, I've made up my mind, Avery. It's me and you, from now to forever.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I'm done with situationships. I'm standing on business, so you can stop texting me.
You for real?
Yes.
That's funny, because last week you were riding, bouncing, arching, and pillow princessing on business.
What can I say? I'm a change girl.
So you expect us to be friends? Or
Please,
Okay, no, that's too much.
Obia. No, Mama. Obia, man. I'm going to die. Mama, stop it. It's just...
This guy created a contraption that tucks you into bed at night. And what's really impressive to me is the fact that he got that sheet on in one go. Now this is for sure some Pee Wee Herman engineering, but I also kind of love it. It's like being tucked into bed at night, which I think we'd all could agree would help us sleep better. He goes by Joseph's Machines, and you can find him on all platforms. Bro creates the wackiest inventions. I think the thing that I love most about inventions like these is it reminds me of old 90s movies where everybody was some kind of inventor, and the contraptions were really crazy and they never functioned right. In this case, his inventions actually work. This guy created a contraption.
That's pretty cool. But the problem is, what happens if you roll and toss in your sleep and you just like knock over like your lamp because the teddy bear is connected to it? It doesn't seem super practical, even though it might seem like
this is a
theory.
map of San Francisco. There's a lot of plots on that. You may be asking, what is that plotting? Well, this is an app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco. And you see how almost the whole thing is covered, because that is what has happened in one of the previous greatest cities this country's ever had. Human feces is now a fact of life, except when a communist dictator comes to town. Then they cleaned up the streets. They lined the streets with Chinese flags. They didn't put American flags there. They cleaned everything up. So they're willing to do it for a communist dictator, but they're not willing to do it for their own people.
By the way, this debate to me really crystallized American politics. In all honesty, I think that these two people probably should be our nominees for president, to be honest. Ron DeSantis versus Gavin Newsom. I think it really crystallized, and I think like the reasons why Fox News chose these people to do the red versus blue debate kind of demonstrated that. They represent, I think, the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. Ron DeSantis comes from a red state, doing very, very well. Gavin Newsom comes from a blue state that's not doing well at all, but it has many of the mainstream policies that you would see supported by many Democrats. And one thing I found fascinating when watching this debate is that it just showed how much like Republicans care most about policy, and Democrats seem to care most about rhetoric and like personality. Now, to be fair, personality does matter a lot to Republicans too. Don't get me wrong. You know, that's one reason why Donald Trump is the GOP nominee, essentially. But here we had a debate between Ron DeSantis, who has like basically no charm or no affable personality, but really good policies, and Gavin Newsom, who was extremely charming, extremely likable, but with horrendous policies that were ending up very badly for his constituents. Like, going into this debate, I was like, why in the world would anyone vote for Gavin Newsom? And I came away from this being like, you know what? I completely see it now. This guy could win a presidential election if he ran. So, like, it's insane, but I feel like that's the way the American politics is nowadays.
You suck. Nobody likes you. Your team sucks.
Get a gym membership, pal. Is it?
Watch your mouth. Swear on me.
I'll swear to head. You suck. Nobody likes you. Your team sucks.
That's insane. That's insane.
We've just gotten a good news update on the person who decided to kick in the back windshield of a random woman's car. If you haven't seen the video by now, a group of ATV and dirt bikers were riding through Philadelphia when one man got off his bike and jumped on the back windshield of a woman's car. She got furious, and rightfully so, because she had her 2-year-old and her 5-year-old in the back seat that the glass crashed down on. She got out of her car to confront the man and he pointed a gun at her and headbutted her before taking off. But nothing is greater than some internet justice. Stemming from something as simple as the shoes he was wearing, thousands of people sent in tips to find the suspect, including the man's own employer. Cody Heron, age 26, has just been arrested and is held on bail for $2.5 million. He has 19 charges, including recklessly endangering another person and multiple accounts of aggravated assault.
Now, I will say, by the way, if that dude was black, you know all the comments would be racist. You know all the comments would be racist. But it's a white dude, so ain't nobody gonna talk about his skin color here. But whenever I see videos like this, it always boggles my mind. Why would you do this? I don't understand any explanation for that. That she wasn't doing anything to her, to him. She wasn't blocking his way. It didn't sound like she said anything to him. What is cool about stopping in the backseat window of a vehicle? I don't get it.
Oh my God! Look at that piece of cake! Yeah, who the are you talking to, bro? Who the are you talking to? Who the are you talking to? What are you talking to? Yo, chill. My boy, my boy got cake right there, bro.
I don't understand. That's so dumb.
Oh my God.
Why do people get so upset about stuff like this? I don't get it. Was he trying to attack people? He wasn't. It's unwarranted. It's ridiculous.
Let's get out of here.
I feel like not enough people talk about how violent reactions to just verbal statements are ridiculous. They are ridiculous. They don't make sense to me. Even if someone says something that you don't like or that offends you, just I don't know, walk away, put in earbuds, ignore the person, bro. Don't go to jail because someone said something about cake in your presence, okay? Or used the N-word, okay? We don't do that here.
We've just gotten a good...
Man, my goodness. Okay.
You live in a country where a man transitioned to become a woman after winning a decathlon in 1980, and then after doing so, runs over someone, kills them, runs over a second person, and 4 months later is named Woman of the Year. You live in a country where a...
I mean, to be fair, only running over one person, I can see why they gave him that award.
Man spends 15 months in prison for securities fraud. In a movie they make...
I'm sorry, y'all. It's a joke. But still.
Think about him. He punches his wife in the stomach and then kidnaps his own child. And all of you love that movie because I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. It's The Wolf of Wall Street. You guys know who is the face of prison reform in the United States? Who is it? It's Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian, who made us is the face of prison reform. If you don't believe me, Google right now Kim Kardashian standing next to President Trump having legislation signed while she's in the Oval Office. She made a tape where she was having with Ray J, and now she's getting legislation passed, and you're worried about a meme that you're supposed to post. Status is status is status. Doesn't matter what you do. If you get more attention, no one will care. People want to make TikToks with O.J. Simpson and don't give a about what he probably did. You live...
What is his point? He seems mad that these people were successful despite maybe untoward or unsavory things that they did, but I don't know, dude, just get more attention, be more successful. I don't understand being all mad about all of this stuff. It doesn't really affect you. Now, I do think that he has a point where famous people often their more negative aspects get overlooked. I think Trump's a really good example of this, by the way. I'm a politics head, but Trump is a really good example of this, by the way. All the pro-gun people love Donald Trump, but I think Donald Trump enacted more gun restrictions than either Obama or Biden. I know for a fact that he signed the whole bump stock ban. Ain't nobody talking about that bump stock ban right now. So people like to overlook things that are negative traits about famous people, especially if they like them. When I think that's kind of unfair. I think people are a little bit too forgiving. And then they wonder why no one holds the politicians accountable. Bozo, you're the one who's supposed to be doing that.
Mom, where's my signed basketball?
Oh, that old thing. I sold it at the garage sale this morning.
Sold it? It was signed by Michael Jordan himself. It's worth thousands.
Michael who? Someone was thrilled to get it for $15, said it was a steal.
It was a steal, because your ass got robbed, Mom. That ball was my future college fund. Do you understand how much I could have sold that for?
I thought it was taking
This seems
space.
fake.
It's not like you play with it.
Well, dirt. I thought the glass case and giant signature would give away the
this
fact.
seems fake. I don't want to see fake stories. No.
Black applicants to jobs are 50% less likely to get jobs with they have a black-sounding name.
That's not even close to being. That's not even close.
Oh, okay. This is one of those videos I saw from Charlie Kirk where I was like, this is a bad reaction. Okay, hold on. Let me reload this because I want to start from the beginning. He did not do a good job here in this debate. Let me explain why.
Black applicants to jobs are 50% less likely to get jobs with they have a black-sounding name.
Okay. What is a black-sounding name? Are you saying that like you could just tell somebody's race based on what they're based on what is
that's not even close to being. That's not even close to.
Excuse me. You're saying that you can you can guess what skin color just based on their name? Like
accurate. That is a literal.
In fact, it's the opposite.
I'm not gonna argue your lived experience. I'm not gonna no.
See, now you have to listen to him under your rules because a black person is going to say you're wrong.
I am. He can say I'm wrong. I know.
Come on up to the mic.
I know. I read your.
My name's Keemon Dixon. I have a really black name. Please tell me how 50% of my internships have been denied when I've worked for Senator Mike Lee, Mayor Trent Sachs, Speaker Mike Schultz.
Hold on.
I worked for a Congressman, Burgess Owens. I've actually worked on his campaign. I've worked on the campaigns of John Huntsman Jr. Please tell me how my black experience and my black name has not given me Go ahead.
Now, I will say this. To be fair, I don't know like what the argument against this is because I'm sure that there's probably some argument against this. But this is what is known as an anecdote. This does not prove that writ large black people are not getting discriminated against when it comes to like college applications. I think Charlie Kirk should have responded by bringing up affirmative action, right? Would you not say that affirmative action would counteract the effect of discrimination when it comes to black people getting hired? Because now I think we're probably seeing the indiscriminate amount of black people getting hired in comparison to white people. So would you not say that affirmative action has already been in place? It has already gotten rid of this effect? Like that would be the effect of that, you would think.
So,
but instead, saying that this white dude has to bend to an anecdote of this one black conservative who happened to be successful is a little bit ridiculous. And I wonder what the comments are too. I bet they're all like, "Yeah, it's not education. It's not education. It's indoctrination." It's beautiful watching virtue signaling losers get caught out in real time. That is a real black man. I wish you all the best, which I'm sure is coming his way. It's just like, oh my goodness. All right, one last reel. Hopefully it's a good one.
College is, good. Why would it be a scam? Can you do a differential equation?
Can I do
Can you explain to me the anatomy of a human?
Like someone off the top of my head.
Do you know what psychology is?
Yes, I do know what psychology is.
Okay, can you explain to me?
You want me to explain psychology?
Well, you can't explain it to the depths of a bachelor's degree or a PhD.
Well, hold on a
master's.
second. Time out. I've sat here with no notes and debated people with PhDs,
because you study this because it's your job.
Hold on. I didn't go to college, man. How much debt do you have to go to school, by the way?
None.
Okay, wow. Are you on scholarship or?
Yeah.
So who's paying for your college then?
Probably the federal government.
Okay, so I'm paying for your college is what you're saying. This is why you're so defensive of college, because you don't have to walk around the rest of your life with $100,000 student loan debt.
I pay taxes.
You think you pay anywhere close to the tuition value you get at the school? Probably not.
Probably I do.
How much is it to go to school
Okay,
here?
but actually that kind of goes against Charlie Kirk there because he doesn't either.
Room, board, tuition, all of it's around $11,000.
$11,000 a semester. So you pay $22,000.
$11,000 a semester? Wow, okay.
$1 a year in taxes?
No.
Okay, got it. That's fine. I'm not faulting you for it, but this is why you're so defensive, is you're detached from the price. It's easy to be defensive of something you're not paying for.
College is, why would it be a scam?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of a good point. It's kind of a good point, but like, I don't understand what this dude's point was. I don't understand what his point was because he was just like rambling about like, oh, do you know how to like, say all these things at the level of a PhD? Like, bro, you see Charlie Kirk walking around saying, I got a PhD. Like, no, he's not doing that. So it doesn't make sense to fault him for not being able to discuss things that are not within his realm of expertise. That doesn't make sense. All right. Let me check one thing here real quick because I do want to see if there's some videos that I can react to wrap up the stream. Okay, I guess we could do this one right here.
Next meeting actually used to work right there. Next meeting
Let's see here. So we've got our favorite vlogger, Vivek Ramaswamy, here. He walked around in New York City. By the way, what's up with this feature, stable volume? Is this new? I haven't heard this before. But, let's try it and see. Anyways, Vivek Ramaswamy spends a day in New York. Hopefully he doesn't get mugged. Well, I guess, no, he probably won't get punched in the face because he's not a white woman. But hopefully it's he has a safe stay in New York.
Next meeting, I actually used to work right there. My first job in New York City. Not just about politics. You can change this country.
Oh, Goodfellas. Nice.
I appreciate it. Headed to New York City for a day trip. Woke up a little bit of a rainy day in Ohio. Karthik and Arjun have a busy day here, but they're going to take the time to drop me off at the airport, which is very nice of you guys. Come on, let's go. We're late. Fast. Hey, Gary. How you doing? Good to see you, man. Come in the airplane?
So does he have a private jet?
I just landed in New York. I'm going to take you on my day with me. Let's go.
Dude, I hope this guy runs for president in 2028. I hope he does.
We're in the city now, grabbing a quick bite to eat before the next meeting. I actually used to work right there. My first job in New York City when I graduated at the age of 22 from college was at a hedge fund in that building, so it's a familiar place to come back to. Crosstown traffic is worse than it used to be when I lived here, so we're going to make our way to the west side, head to my next one to meet an old investor friend of mine, and get on with the day. If we have time, we're even going to get to a restaurant that I love, but that's if we're lucky. I'll just get out of the meeting. Got my mind spinning on some interesting economic ideas, thinking about what's coming up with the economy this year. Should be a very interesting period in markets more generally, and I think that presents opportunity for the wise. And so it's fun to work a different side of my brain.
He's
Looking forward
right.
to doing more of that. It's not just about politics. You can change this country through business too. I used to.
He's right. I think that I don't think it's completely outside of the realm of possibility. We see an economic recession in the late fall. I don't think it's entirely likely. I actually have it on my 24 bingo card that we don't see a recession or depression this year. But yeah, it's cool that he's talking about this too on his vlog. Cause I think it's important for people to think about, like, a state of our economy is not going to be the same just across the board forever. Like we had a recession. No, wait, like there was a period of economic instability during COVID.
Live in that building when I first moved to New York City. Brings back memories. Right here at 50th and 8th. I used to eat at this restaurant, Toloache, all the time, which eventually went on to become my favorite Mexican restaurant in New York City. But whenever we have some extra time, I try to make it back here. And it's the first apartment that Apurva and I lived in after we got married as well. Let's go in and have some enchiladas.
Initially, it was just convenient right across the street. Then it started to get really popular. It's never like this. I mean, usually the wait times are pretty long. You can't come in here without a reservation. But then it grew on me. Now I love it. Actually, that reminds me. I should get a to-go order for Apurva. She also loves the couple of the things here that are really good.
Nice.
M&M cover. There's also ways. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for saying hello. I appreciate it. All right. Headed into Gutfeld. Been coming here for a couple of years now. We'll have some fun tonight. Close out the day before we head to the prostate cancer gala across the street. But we're gonna make this some fun. Hey, what's up, guys?
I did not know that he had prostate cancer.
Are we early?
That's news to me.
We're way early, huh? Good to see you. It starts at 6, right? A little bit, give or take.
So I know they take that.
Great show, had fun at
I do know
Gutfeld.
this
Airing
pre-tape.
later tonight. Heading to the prostate cancer gala. Looking forward to seeing some of my family members there, other friends we haven't seen in New York City for a long time. It's important how many men suffer from prostate cancer. It's also important to me because it's one of the medicines I developed that's an FDA-approved drug now. I oversaw the development of a therapy for prostate cancer that's on the market, helping men today, and I think it's an important area where we need more advances. And so,
Bro, I don't know why I didn't expect this to be a big pharma ad. I ain't mad though.
out of the world of politics and into the world of medicine. Let's do it.
And the offtake deal's in place. It's suing Mitsubishi if there's too much active. But you get 30% call. And they're not planning to shut it.
going there a lot. It's kind of an interesting time to be going there. Yeah. Headed to Rockefeller Center Rainbow Room for the Prostate Cancer Gala. Looking forward to meeting some old friends and celebrating, I think, a good cause. Let's go ahead and do it. All right. Heading into the Prostate Cancer Gala. We're going to have a good time and see some old friends. About to celebrate advances in research in a field that I think matters. And for me, it is something I've been following closely, at least since I developed one of the therapies that's now approved for prostate cancer. I'm proud to say that was one of the drugs that we oversaw during my time at Roivant. You know what? It's amazing what advances in medical breakthroughs can actually do when done the right way. Not forced upon people, but done the right way. And I think serving patients through medical choice is the way to go.
Yeah,
let's do it.
True.
I had a friend that's a doctor at Mount Sinai, and he called me and said, I called him and said, I have prostate cancer. He said, there's only one person you go to. I went to see a father-in-law, and after an hour and 45 minutes with him, I said, don't you have any other patients? And he said, no, I have you.
Well, that's special, and he sees, tens of patients per day, and it's people like that who give me, he gives me such inspiration too, how hard he works for his patients and his cause, and people like you, we're gonna stay at it. So
yeah,
thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You've got plenty of time.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
The
Gala was great.
The amount
really
of success that this dude has gotten as a not even particularly young. I mean, we see that he's already balding, but as a 40-year-old dude is very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You've got plenty of time.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Gala was great. Really proud of my father-in-law and everybody else who's supporting great research for prostate cancer. You know what? Hopefully it will be a curable disease sometime in our lifetime as well. So I'm rooting for that. I was glad to see my old friends and also family members up there tonight. Beautiful evening. Off to the next stop.
Oh, what's this? Okay, look at this.
I've done this 40 minutes before comedy. So we've got a lot of skills.
Bro, this makes me want to get back into
Sony
DJing.
Hall, good spot. I like the owner. He was a good guy. And he leaned over and he says, hey, let's get rid of actually people who don't like this country. It's actually what he told me kind of quietly. Not that we want more liberals here, but he was joking, but he wasn't. And the guy speaking freely, that was pretty funny actually. And that's what we need more of in this country.
Wait, so he's saying that we need to get rid of liberals? I mean, how about no? How about we change their hearts and minds? Rather than just say we want to get rid of them. I mean, they're joking around. He's not espousing a political position or policy here, but
there's a lot of New Yorkers. Oh, totally. Yeah, it's not a stereotype of what people pin as New York. So we're in changing times, and people are open in their minds. So that's a good thing.
Willing to stand up and speak out.
That is. Thank you guys for having us.
All right.
Appreciate it, man. Take care. Take care. Thank you very much, man. And then we'll take off. It was a great day. Woke up in my bed at home, said bye to the kids, got a lot of different things accomplished. It was cool to wear my old hat, talking about the investment world, but a mixture of a view from the political experiences we've had over the last year. A number of business meetings that we had. Some of those are private meetings, but could lead to interesting opportunities to drive change in the business world. And then some surprises mixed in the day. We had fun at Gutfeld. That led to meeting Russell Peters and Gottfried and stuff for the first time. And it was great to see my family. I'm so proud of my father-in-law at the Prostate Cancer Gala. A lot of great things came together, and it was a good day, and I'm feeling really good, and hopefully we'll get home. I won't get to see Karthik or Arjun tonight, but I'll give the little guys a little kiss before I head to bed, and it'll be another day back in Ohio tomorrow.
Nice. Well, I mean, hey, I would take a vlog like that over, I don't know, Mr. Beast any day. No hate to Mr. Beast. He does nice. He does good stuff. Philanthropist, I can't hit on that, but as an adult, not a big fan of his content. Oh man. But anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in to the stream. I do appreciate you guys for tapping in. I did see some people hop in, no one chatted, but it's fine. I do not particularly care. Yeah. So I am trying to do these streams a little bit more frequently. I think one problem is when I do streams like this once a week, It means I have to do a lot more show prep at once. And I think stuff gets so jam-packed with topics that I can't have more just like free-form conversations, because stuff gets more scripted down. Like I have a whole outline of what I was supposed to talk about in this stream. I kind of stick by it in order to get to everything in time so that my stream doesn't last like 3 hours long. So I am looking to do more shorter streams in the future. I'm not sure how often I'll do them. If you're in the Discord, you will know the details for all that. And hey, if you want to join the Discord, you don't have to join a Patreon or anything like that. Just click the link in the description. It's DSCRD.NJWB. It's the place you want to be if you want to chat with me. That's pretty much all that I got. So for all the gentlemen, for all the ladies, for all the genetic anomalies, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. And that it's now better than, the part of the day that was happening before, because I made it better. Perhaps. We'll see. But anyways, that's all I got. Peace out, y'all.